Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today we're exploring this really fascinating concept, art therapy, as social action.
Oh, yeah.
You might be familiar with art therapy in like a clinical setting, but we're kind of going beyond the individual here.
Yeah.
We're talking about using art as a tool for change in communities and even on like a global scale.
It's an area that often surprises people, yeah, when you hear art therapy. You
Right.
might think individual expression, emotional healing, but it's so much broader than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have this amazing collection of sources to guide us. We have academic research,
Mhm.
we have personal reflections from art therapists, and really compelling case studies.
Yeah.
And so I think our mission today is to uncover how art can really spark change
Yeah.
and the impact it can have on, not just you, but also your community and even society as a whole.
It's about understanding that our personal struggles often mirror larger social issues.
Right.
When you address one, you inevitably touch the other.
Okay, so how do we even define social action art therapy?
Right.
It seems almost like a paradox, right?
Yeah.
Art is so personal, while social action brings to mind movements, protests, those big outward expressions.
It is a fascinating intersection. Social action art therapy, it diverges from traditional psychoanalytic approaches by recognizing that individual healing and societal change are intertwined.
Okay, so if someone's like grappling with discrimination, their personal healing is like inherently linked to addressing those like systemic injustices.
Yeah.
It's not just about like inner work, it's about actually changing the world around them.
Precisely. And I think this shift in thinking within the field was really influenced by the multicultural movement. And there's this really interesting point in the source material that art therapists were kind of almost forced into using group therapy initially
Oh,
because of budget limitations.
that's like a happy accident if I've ever heard one.
Yes, it was.
So it was practicality that led to recognizing the power of group dynamics in art therapy.
Exactly. And Edith Kramer's emphasis on the art studio approach, it really further fueled this movement towards the collective experience. But I think to truly understand the potential here, we need to delve into the incredible journey of Maxine Borowski-Young.
Okay.
Her story truly embodies this intersection of personal healing and social action.
I am ready for a story.
Yeah.
What were some of the like defining moments in her journey?
Well, one really pivotal incident occurred during Young's childhood. She witnessed a burning cross on a neighbor's lawn. It's this visceral image of hate that left an indelible mark on her.
Wow, that must have been like a really jarring experience, especially, for a child.
Absolutely. An early exposure to social injustice
Yeah.
that fueled her passion for creating change. And I think this awareness just continued to grow through projects like Operation Adventure.
I'm curious about Operation Adventure. What can you tell us about that?
Initially, it was designed as an enrichment program to foster creativity in children, but for Ying, it really evolved into something much deeper. She learned about community organizing, advocating for her beliefs, and navigating, those complex group dynamics, essential skills for like a budding social activist.
So even like these seemingly simple art programs
Yeah.
can become catalysts for social change.
Precisely. And this was further exemplified when Jung spearheaded the creation of a sexual harassment policy at Loyola Marymount University,
Right.
where she led the art therapy program. And that was a bold move considering art therapy was and still is, predominantly a female profession.
Right. Talk about like using your platform to address systemic issues head on.
Yeah.
That takes courage. What other projects highlight her approach to social action through art?
I think one of the most impactful was facing homelessness. Jung used plaster gauze face cast masks to capture the humanity of individuals experiencing homelessness.
Oh, wow.
It was this really powerful way to challenge perceptions and foster empathy.
I'm imagining like all those masks lined up, each one telling a story and just like breaking down those stereotypes that we so often have about people experiencing homelessness.
You've hit the nail on the head. And the project went beyond just the creation of the masks.
Yeah.
There were workshops, exhibitions, even auctions that raised funds for a homeless shelter.
Oh, wow.
This multifaceted approach, it sparked dialogue, raised awareness, and provided tangible support.
Yui's journey is truly inspiring. But I'm also interested in like the theory behind all of this.
Right.
The source material delves into this like fascinating paradox.
Yeah.
The biological basis for both peacemaking and aggression in humans.
It might seem counterintuitive, but social action art therapy recognizes this duality within us, right? It's about understanding that both peace and conflict are part of the human experience.
So does that mean art therapy can be like a tool for both, like expressing aggression and fostering peace?
You're on the right track. There's this really compelling anecdote about a territorial robin
Oh, I remember that story.
repeatedly attacking its reflection in a window.
It seemed like senseless aggression at first glance.
Exactly. But upon closer examination, the author realized the robin was actually trying to protect its territory. The aggression stemmed from a basic survival instinct.
Ah, so it's about understanding the motivations behind the behavior, not just the behavior itself.
Right.
How does this apply to like conflict resolution in humans?
Just like understanding the robin's actions required looking beyond the surface, right? Addressing conflict in humans requires understanding the underlying interests.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
Yeah.
But how does art help us do that?
Well, art offers this unique pathway to understanding diverse perspectives.
Right.
Imagine, visually representing your viewpoint
Yeah.
and then trying to depict someone else's. That act alone can bridge the gap in understanding.
It's like putting yourself in someone else's shoes, but like through art.
Exactly. And it goes
Yeah.
beyond just perspectives. Art can be incredibly powerful for processing emotions. When words fail, art can unlock understanding both for ourselves and for others.
There's this like really great example in the source material about a woman
Yeah.
who drew her conflict with her daughter-in-law.
Right.
And through that process, she was able to like shift her perspective and even feel empathy for her daughter-in-law.
It perfectly illustrates how art can facilitate that emotional understanding and really pave the way for more productive communication. And then, let's not forget art's potential as a brainstorming tool for solutions. By visualizing possibilities, thinking outside the box, we can uncover those creative solutions we might not have otherwise considered.
This is all starting to click now. So art's expressive power can help us navigate the complexities of conflict and build bridges towards understanding.
Right.
Are there any like case studies that demonstrate this in action?
Absolutely. The book dives into the story of Rick, this young man struggling with aggression,
Okay.
who found this really powerful outlet through art. And his early drawings were quite violent, but
The art making process, it provided this safe space to channel those emotions.
so the art became like a form of communication for him, allowing him to like express what he couldn't put into words.
exactly.
What type of art therapy was used in his case?
That's a great question.
And how did it like contribute to those his behavioral changes?
Rick's case really highlights how art therapy, specifically the mention-specific type approach, provided that structured outlet for his aggression,
Yeah.
ultimately leading to, positive behavioral changes.
That's amazing. But understanding aggression, it goes beyond just like individual cases, right? I know the source material also explores all these different psychological and sociological perspectives.
Yes, we see this interplay of like nature and nurture emerge.
Yeah.
So Freud, he argued for aggression as a primal instinct,
Right.
while Karen Horney, she attributed it to feelings of insecurity. Then you have Aaron Beck, who emphasized the role of thoughts and interpretations in shaping those emotional responses, including aggression. So it's not just about like inherent drives. It's also about how we process and interpret our experiences.
Exactly.
What about from the sociological perspective?
Oh, symbolic interactionism, it offers this really fascinating lens.
Okay.
It suggests that our identities are shaped by our interactions with others
Right.
and the labels they assign us.
So if you're constantly labeled aggressive, you might internalize that label and act accordingly, kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You've got it. And the Stanford prison experiment, as disturbing as it was, it really demonstrated how quickly people conform to roles,
Right.
even those involving aggression.
It's a sobering reminder of how social forces can shape behavior. But if social interaction can reinforce aggression,
Yeah.
can it also be used to, like, redirect it?
That's the key insight from symbolic interactionism, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're changing those labels, validating positive behavior, and creating opportunities for healthy interaction.
Right.
We can positively influence someone's tendency towards aggression.
This is all so insightful. It's making me think about the, like, huge potential applications of art therapy in schools, prisons, community centers.
The possibilities are truly vast.
Well,
And speaking of impactful projects, the Paper People Project is such a powerful example of art as social action.
yeah.
Tackling the, very difficult issue of gun violence
Yeah.
in a deeply moving way.
That project really stood out to me. What resonated with you about their approach?
Well, what's remarkable is its evolution from a personal expression of grief into a nationwide movement. The founder, she was inspired to start it after losing someone to gun violence.
Oh, wow.
And her personal story became the catalyst for something much larger. As the project grew, all these really powerful visual themes emerged in the artwork.
Yeah, I was particularly struck by the imagery. Gunshot wounds juxtaposed with hearts, angels, calls for peace. It was heartbreaking and hopeful all at the same time.
Absolutely. And what's really intriguing is their concept of the interactive exhibition.
Okay.
Instead of just passively displaying the artwork, they invite viewers to become active participants.
So they're like encouraged to create their own art as part of the exhibit. What a powerful way to engage people.
Exactly. By blurring the lines between artist and viewer, they create this shared experience, a space for dialogue and reflection.
Right.
And it fosters this sense of community and really encourages collective action.
It's not just about like raising awareness.
Yeah.
It's about actually empowering people to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to see how a personal expression of grief can spark something so impactful and far-reaching.
It speaks to the potential that lies within all of us to use our creativity,
Right.
to use art as a force for good in the world. And that's a perfect segue into our next example. And as we continue to explore that transformative power of art, I think it's really interesting to shift our focus to a project that beautifully illustrates how art can be a catalyst for community building.
I am all ears.
Yeah.
I love seeing how these concepts kind of play out in real-world settings. What project are we diving into now?
We're going to explore the Naropa Community Art Studio, or NCAS for short. They've developed this fascinating approach that really emphasizes SEVA, selfless service, as this guiding principle.
Seva, that's a term I've come across before, but I could definitely use a little refresher on. How does it like connect to art and community building?
So think of SEVA as approaching any action, right, including art making, as an offering, a way to contribute to something much larger than yourself without seeking personal gain or recognition. It's about really shifting the focus from the self to the well-being of the collective, right?
So it's about using art as a bridge to connect with something bigger than ourselves and contribute to the well-being of others.
Precisely. And this principle is woven into the very fabric of NCAS. They've created this incredible space where people from all walks of life can come together to create, to connect, to support each other through art.
You mentioned people from all walks of life. Who are some of the individuals NCS works with?
It's a truly diverse community. You'll find high school students alongside individuals facing mental health challenges, folks experiencing homelessness. NCAS really embraces this beautiful tapestry of human experience, offering everyone a place to belong and to express themselves.
It sounds like a space where like labels kind of fade away and the shared language of art takes center stage.
You've hit the nail on the head. And they recognize that creative expression takes so many forms. There's this really touching anecdote in the source material about a participant named Jay who, struggled with verbal communication, but found this really powerful voice through his collages.
That's the power of art, right? You can give voice to the unspoken, allowing us to connect on this deeper level beyond words.
It's a beautiful testament to the universality of art. Speaking of different approaches, NCAS also utilizes a role called the art mentor, which is distinct from an art therapist.
That's interesting. What's the key difference between an art mentor and an art therapist?
Well, while both roles involve supporting and guiding individuals in their art-making process, the art mentor, they aren't bound by the same, ethical constraints as a therapist. They have more freedom to develop personal connections and engage in, those social interactions outside of the studio.
So it's a bit more fluid, a bit more organic in a sense.
Exactly. It fosters a different kind of connection, one that really blurs the lines between, facilitator and friend, creating this more egalitarian and supportive dynamic.
I'm seeing how that approach could really enhance that sense of community and shared experience, especially for those who might feel, marginalized or isolated.
You're spot on. It's all about fostering a sense of belonging and interconnectedness.
And the source material also mentions a practice called witness writing that seems to be like a key part of that NCLS experience. Can you shed some light on what that entails?
Witness writing is about, really putting words to the visual language of art, right? It involves reflecting on the artwork created and expressing its meaning through written words, giving voice to those images, and then sharing those reflections with others in the group.
It's like a bridge between the visual and the verbal, deepening understanding and creating a space for dialogue.
Precisely. And that act of sharing those reflections with the group creates this really powerful ripple effect. It fosters empathy, encourages vulnerability, and strengthens those bonds of connection.
It's like a collective witnessing of not just the art, but also like the stories and emotions that are kind of woven into each creation. What a beautiful way to build community and foster a sense of shared humanity.
You've captured it beautifully. NCBS offers this really powerful model for how art can bring people together, create positive change, and cultivate that sense of belonging.
It's a reminder that art is more than just self-expression. It's a powerful tool for social transformation. But we've been focusing a lot on like local community building.
Yeah.
What about navigating the complexities of like a globalized world, a world filled with, all these different cultures and perspectives?
You've anticipated our next exploration perfectly. Let's dive into the work of Susan Berkowitz, the visionary founder of All People's Day.
Okay.
This unique holiday, it celebrates diversity and actively promotes inclusion, using art as a really powerful tool to, bridge cultural divides.
All People's Day. I love that. Tell me more about it. How does Berkowitz use art to like bring those themes of diversity and inclusion to life?
She has this knack for creating really engaging and thought-provoking activities. One that really stands out is the Crafto People Project, which tackles the challenging issue of racial prejudice head-on.
Okay, you have definitely piqued my curiosity. Crafto and racial prejudice. How does that work?
It's surprisingly simple but incredibly effective. Participants, they use plain white craft dough to create figures representing different racial groups. They then work together to debunk prejudice through like skits using these figures.
Wow, that's brilliant. They're literally reshaping perceptions of race through art. It's such a tangible, like hands-on approach to confronting those deeply ingrained biases.
It's about taking something as basic as craft dough and imbuing it with meaning, using it to challenge stereotypes and spark those meaningful conversations.
I love that. It's about like giving voice to those figures, allowing them to tell their stories and dismantle those harmful narratives that fuel prejudice.
You've got it. And the source material provides some really powerful examples of how this project kind of plays out. There's this one story in particular that that really resonated with me. It's about
Yeah, it really stuck with me. What was it about that choice that made such an impact?
well, the student's decision reflected a desire to align himself with light-skinned privileges. It was this really powerful moment of self-reflection, revealing how deeply ingrained those societal biases can be, even within ourselves.
It's a reminder that addressing prejudice isn't just about confronting like the outward expressions of hate. It's about examining those subtle biases we might unknowingly carry within.
You're getting to the heart of it. Berkowitz's work, it creates a space for that deep introspection, inviting us to challenge those unconscious biases that can perpetuate harm.
It's incredible how an activity as seemingly simple as making dough figures can lead to such profound insights and personal growth.
It speaks to the power of art to act as a mirror, reflecting back those hidden aspects of ourselves and society that need to be examined and challenged.
Berkowitz's approach is so inspiring, but I know her work doesn't stop there. What other creative tools does she utilize to bridge cultural understanding?
Another fascinating project that she incorporates is the Symbol Project, which explores the potential for misunderstandings across cultures.
Oh, that's right up my alley. I'm always fascinated by those subtle like cultural nuances that can lead to, miscommunication or even conflict. What's the premise behind this project?
It's all about encouraging participants to dive deep into those nuances, to explore how symbols and customs from different cultures can be misinterpreted or even misconstrued.
So are we talking about like creating artwork that represents these different cultural symbols, or is it more about like using art to act out those potential misunderstandings?
It can be a combination of both. Sometimes participants might create, visual representations of those symbols, exploring those diverse meanings and interpretations. Other times they might use art as a springboard for creating skits that demonstrate those cross-cultural interactions, highlighting where things can go awry.
Oh, I love that. It's about taking those abstract concepts of cultural difference and bringing them to life through art. It makes them more tangible, more relatable, and less intimidating.
You're absolutely right. It's about creating a safe and playful environment where participants can explore those complexities without, fear of judgment.
It sounds like it equips them with the skills to navigate those cultural differences with more sensitivity and understanding, both in their personal lives and in the wider world.
Exactly. It's about fostering empathy,
Right.
developing cultural competence, and building bridges across those divides that can often separate us.
Berkowitz's work is so inspiring. It's a testament to the power of art to promote inclusion, to challenge prejudice, and to cultivate this more compassionate and interconnected world.
She truly embodies that spirit of social action art therapy. And speaking of interconnectedness, she also incorporates this really beautiful and moving project called Peace Cranes into her All People's Day celebrations.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. Peace cranes. Tell me more.
So this project connects to the incredibly moving story of Sadako Sasaki, a young girl who was exposed to radiation from the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
Oh, I'm Marissa Dadasor, yeah. She's the young girl who tried to fold 1,000 origami cranes, believing it would grant her wish.
That's right. While she tragically passed away from leukemia, her story has become this symbol of hope, of resilience, and that enduring human spirit in the face of unimaginable hardship. And her cranes continue to inspire people around the world to this day.
It's such a poignant image, a testament to the fragility of peace and the importance of striving for it, both individually and collectively. How does Berkowitz incorporate this into her work?
So participants are invited to fold their own peace cranes while learning about Sadako's story and reflecting on the devastating impact of war. It's a simple act, but it carries so much weight.
I can only imagine the emotions that come up during that process, the sense of connection to something larger than oneself.
It's about channeling that desire for peace into a tangible action, something you can hold in your hand, something that connects you to a global community united by that shared aspiration.
It's a beautiful way to honor Sadeko's legacy while also making this personal commitment to peace.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even small acts of creation can ripple outward and contribute to a more just and compassionate world. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I encourage you to consider the power of those small acts, those seemingly insignificant gestures that, when combined, can really transform the world around us.
You know, it's amazing how a simple folded paper crane can
Yeah.
hold so much meaning, connecting us to personal stories, historical events, and these huge global movements. It really highlights the power of symbols, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Symbols, they can transcend language and those cultural barriers, allowing us to connect on this deeper, more visceral level.
And Berkowitz has this amazing ability to tap into that power,
Right.
right? Using art to bridge those divides and to foster understanding. She truly embodies that spirit of social action art therapy. Thinking back on all the examples we've explored today, from Maxine Young's impactful projects to the community building approach of NCAS and Susan Berkowitz's inspiring initiatives, it's so clear that art therapy's potential, it goes way beyond individual healing.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've seen how art can be used to address those complex social issues, challenge deeply ingrained perceptions, empower individuals, and even contribute to those global movements for peace and justice.
It's making me think about my own creative expression, even in those small, everyday moments. Do you think we all have the potential to contribute to a more just and compassionate world through art, even without, being trained art therapists?
I absolutely believe that. It's not about being a master artist or having some grand vision. It's about tapping into that innate human capacity for creativity and using it as a force for good.
So where do we even begin? For someone who might feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of these social issues, where's that entry point for using art to make a difference?
It's easy to feel overwhelmed, like our individual efforts are just a drop in the ocean. But remember, even the smallest ripple can create a wave. It starts that spark of intention, that desire to contribute to something larger than yourself.
So finding that intersection between your passion and a cause you care about.
Exactly. Maybe it's creating a piece of art that expresses your solidarity with a particular movement, or using your creative talents to raise awareness about an issue that's close to your heart. Or maybe it's donating your artwork to a cause, or using your platform to amplify the voices of those who are often marginalized or silenced. There are countless ways to make a difference.
It sounds like it's less about finding the right way and more about finding what feels authentic and meaningful to you.
You've got it. And don't be afraid to start small, even sharing a poem on social media that promotes peace or creating a drawing that celebrates diversity can plant seeds of change. Those seemingly small acts, when multiplied, create a powerful collective impact.
That's such an inspiring thought that we're all interconnected and our individual acts of creative expression can contribute to a larger wave of positive change.
Precisely. And as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of art therapy as social action, I encourage you to consider those small acts, those seemingly insignificant gestures that, when combined, can transform the world around us.
This has been such an eye-opening exploration. Thank you for guiding us through these incredible examples and insightful perspectives.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, art has the power to heal, to connect, and to inspire change. It's a force that resides within each of us waiting to be unleashed.
That's a beautiful note to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into art therapy as social action. Until next time.